You know, if I had to describe Usogui in a single sentence, it would be the paragon of foreshadowing. It's always satisfying when you're reading or watching something and catch a tiny detail which foreshadows the story's course. That exact thing occurred to me in the climax of the story's final arc, and when it happened, I physically, metaphorically and spiritually climaxed on my screen. Usogui plants a lot of small seeds of ideas that blossom as the story goes on. It does that throughout the plot, while exploring a vast majority of interesting themes from its main way, gambling. Not the conventional way, no. You take classic children's games with grown-ass adults like Labyrinth, Battleship and Hangman, and these games can really leave you hanging in. Haha, get it? Written by Toshusaku, Usogui is a psychological seinen manga with few instances of martial arts. It was first published on May 11, 2006 on Weekly Young Jump, spanning around 49 volumes. Although it has an ending, it's pretty open to interpretation and it's more of a foundation if Saku decides to continue the story. Now, as much as I personally believe that Usogui is the greatest manga ever, whether a piece of media someone labels as peak or masterpiece, that overuse makes such words inevitably lose their meaning. So instead of being a prism for your opinion, I'm going to try to keep the spoilers at minimum, giving you the chance to experience this amazing journey in a blind read so you can come to your own conclusions. The story is centered around three main characters: Baku Madarame, Kaji Takomi and Kiruma Suichi. Baku Madarame, the protagonist, or better known as Usogui, is a legendary gambler from the underworld. He's batshit crazy. I mean, the guy could cut his own fingers or gets chased by armed assassins, and yet how does he react? He gets excited. The Lighter won't hesitate to go unreasonably far just to prove how fucking wrong his opponents are. The essence of why he does such things is of the thrill he gets when his life is on the line. Through hidden behind that look of insanity in his eyes is a complex person who truly values his friends rather than exploiting them. In fact, he argues more than once that it's nothing compared to our dreams are flesh and blood and that we shouldn't become slaves to its allure. He knows the power of money, yet he won't let it consume him fully or his allies. Instead, he secretly wishes for each of them to grow in their own ways. I'm not even sure of myself how deep the rabbit hole goes, but Baku's character analysis is a video for another day. Kaji Takomi, the deuteragonist, is a random dude who by sheer chance meets Baku in a casino and gets taken under his wing. I personally believe that he's the representation of the sane person tossed into this new dangerous world in which people either adapt or die. Before the meeting, Kaji had a problem by typically trusting people too much, leading him getting into debt or people using him. Coupled with absolutely shit parents, man, fuck his mom. All my homies hate Kaji's mom, took his kindness for granted and pretty much ruined his childhood. Yet with Baku, he goes through one of the biggest character developments throughout the manga, vowing to become Baku's equal. By the end, he's able to stand on his own feet, managing to play a big part in one of the most important moments in the whole story, indirectly helping Baku. Kiruma Suichi, Prince B or Daddy, is the main antagonist of the manga. He's the 21st leader of an underworld organization called Kakero, responsible for overseeing important gambles between powerful people. In my opinion, Kiruma stands out the most out of the three. I can't say a lot without revealing too much about him, but in short,
While you are looking at my face, I am rubbing my testicles.
he strives for perfection or full control over the mind and body. Goal that transcends human capacity and capabilities, because for him, just as no one has ever ridden a rainbow before, no one will be perfect either. Everyone takes that fact as a gospel. Now for Kiruma's organization, the people who oversee the games are called referees, acting as a third neutral party observing the match, by shooting anyone who breaks the rules of the game or fucking liquefying your brain matter. Of course, all referees have different reasons for joining Kakero, either for strength, duty to uphold, or desire to be a part of something bigger. There are 101 referees with its limit to only 48 exclusive members at a time, meaning that only a certain number have access to Kakeru's services. You need villains to make a compelling story. They create conflict for the characters and their beliefs, drive the plot forward, and provide opportunities for the hero to grow and change. Here, they all share one common thing. The bad guys are actually smart. Every antagonist of this manga has an IQ of 140 at the bare minimum, and extraordinary abilities that are always somehow specifically designed for the games they play, but we don't need to talk about that. The point being, most games are completely against your favor. Put Light in there and he's going to get demolished the second he enters the first arc of the manga. That is the appeal of these dead games, how our group escaped those ridiculous situations unscathed. Why go through all this suffering? Why go through all this planning? Well, Baku has the goal of taking control over Kakarot, becoming its leader. Later to be revealed, he's not the only one setting his sight on that prize, that there is a bigger threat to play. The manga follows Baku's journey, revealing his character while asking an important question: what's his relationship with the leader? The dead games themselves progressively get tougher, which in parallel forces the reader to pay more attention to not miss anything. A tip from me is that you probably have to backtrack a few times. It's pretty hard to comprehend the mind games fully on your first read. That's the gist of it. You gotta take your time reading the series, the reward being of a complete satisfaction on how Saku laid down the story from the very start. A thing I find interesting is the difference when Kaji takes the spotlight compared to Baku. With Kaji, you won't get as many sudden clues about the games, while with Baku, it's mandatory to have dozens. You know, he's the smart one with an already built-up reputation. The uncertainty on how the game will play out also made me care more about the legendary traveler. You never know what kind of tricks he can pull out. But the way Kaji handles a battle against certain death, even if his plans feel junky, the moment he succeeds, the victories feel more rewarding compared to Baku. You can feel the character's emotions on such a deep level thanks to the art style. There's so much painstaking detail of each line he draws, most noticeably from the double page spreads to the point of questioning how Saku managed to draw this weekly. The visuals are incredible, something that cannot be translated to any anime if Usogui gets one, and that's a big if. The way he achieves that is thanks to his constant experimenting. You can follow it from how Baku changes arc to arc. In the beginning, he looks like a rich douchebag. Around the middle parts, he's a straight up mogger. For some reason, in chapter 280, he looks like Jonathan from JoJo's. By the end, he's a fanboy. I think I'm forgetting something, but I'm not so sure. Oh shit, the fights! You watch two people beat the living shit out of each other so much, there is blood, broken arms and teeth flying left and right. The mangaka himself is a boxer, so the first-hand experience can be seen in the choreography. They don't actually take away from the mind games, but purely act as another layer of storytelling. Nonetheless, Usogui is a beautiful manga, a very underrated gem in the sea of media. I don't understand how it went under the radars for the Western audience when it has everything a person can ask for: aura,